Hello, my friends. This is Pragito from discovermeditation.com. And today I want to talk to you about the power of silence. Oh, wow, you might think, silence? What is that? Yes, there isn't much silence in our busy lives. But here's the good news. We are all born with silence within us. Deep down in our center, in our very core, is silence, our own inner silence. It's always there, whether you are aware of it or not. It is always there. So how do we get in touch with it? How do we find a connection to our own inner silence? There are two ways. One is through nature. So if you like being outside, outdoors, with the trees, the flowers, the birds, the sky, and especially if you can find a place where there are no traffic noises, very few people, you can practice listening to the silence of nature. Now, nature, of course, is not like totally silent, because you might hear the wind rustling through the trees. You might hear the birds chirping. If you're by the ocean, you hear the waves crashing on the shore. But if you listen very carefully, there is a silence that is there. It's very profound, but it is definitely there. And when you put yourself in those kind of situations where there is no more information going in your head, no noise from traffic, no disturbing noises, only the natural noise of nature, then this will help you tremendously to find your own inner silence. So this is a very enjoyable way to find your inner silence, through being in nature. Give it a try. Now, the other way is through meditation, a practice of meditation. And of course, there are many, many meditation techniques and meditation traditions. So you have to find the ones that work for you, that suit you. Now, when you close your eyes, if you find that you are full of inner noise, and there's no way you can hear your inner silence, because the mind is very busy, or you have emotional turmoil, or maybe there's a lot of stress in your body, physical stress. So what can you do? Well, first become aware of it. And then my favorite way to release stress from the mind, from the emotions, from the body, is through the expressive meditation techniques. You can find all of this information in my book, Laughter, Tears, Silence, which is on Amazon. So let's take too much noise in the mind, for example. There's a technique called the gibberish technique from the Sufi tradition of meditation, created by the Sufi mystic Jabbar. And that's where actually the word gibberish comes from. And so the idea of that is you just dump out all of your rage and your anger and your frustration and your busyness of your mind into speaking gibberish, nonsense sounds, any kind of nonsense sounds. That is the first stage. And you can also dump out a lot of your emotional turmoil in that and free yourself up. Free your mind up, free your emotions up, and free your body up, because that will also free your body from a lot of stress. And then you sit in silence. And the silence then is magical. And you drop very deeply down into your inner silence. You can do this technique, say 2 minutes of gibberish, 2 minutes of silence. Practice, experiment, see how you like it. But it's a very powerful technique for offloading all the overload of the mind in particular, and also emotional overload. And you'll find that the sitting in silence part is quite delicious. And silence is very powerful for us because it's in silence that we can bring greater awareness to ourselves and to our surroundings, to any situation we might be in, especially a difficult situation. Silence brings us greater awareness. And awareness is the master key to meditation and to living a joy-filled, peace-filled, creativity-filled life. So don't dismiss silence as something that you can never do, because you can. You can. If I can learn it, you can learn it, believe me. So here's something you can try. Remember, silence means no more information going in. You can try this technique for 10 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, or 24 hours. Don't talk. You might have to tell the people in your family or the people around you that you're not going to be talking. So that's the first thing. Don't talk. And the second thing is turn off all devices, TV, phone, so that you have no more information going in. And that includes reading a book too, because that is information going in. So that's it. It's very simple. But I encourage you to give it a try. I had one of my students do the 24 hours in silence. And she has 4 kids. So as you can imagine, that there was a lot of laughter involved, because you can laugh and you can talk in gibberish. You just can't talk in the language that you understand. The idea being to not activate the mind. Give the mind a rest. And it can have very powerful results, as it did for this student of mine. Of course, she let her kids know what she's doing. She let her spouse know. She let everybody know that she was going to be around for that 24 hours. And then she didn't speak. and she didn't allow any information to go in. And what happens is, because I've done this myself, what happens is that you find yourself looking at things with a different perspective, with a new perspective, without the constant commentary from the mind, which includes a lot of judgment and comparison. And when you can go that length of time, though you might try this for an hour or 2 hours, as I said, do what you can, or start with a short amount of time. But as you keep doing this, you'll find that you can drop down into silence quicker and quicker each time you do it. And you connect with yourself. You bring more awareness to your body, your heart, and your intuition. And that's always a good thing. And then what this time allows is it allows the mind to settle. Because usually the mind is going a mile a minute. And it's constantly dealing with new information coming in. So it's constantly very busy. But when you stop all of that, it gives the mind a chance to settle down, to file everything away, which is what it does. It files all the information away in its different categories. And then it starts to calm down and relax. And then what you're going to notice is that in between the thoughts, there is silence. That actually there's a gap between each thought. The same way there's a gap between each word. That gap is made up of silence. Because the silence is always there. It's like a backdrop. It's always there. Which is good news for us. Because if we forget and we get caught up in busyness and too many thoughts, then when we're ready to come back to it, the silence is right there waiting for us. And it's the same thing in music. If you listen to music, you can hear between each note, there's a gap of silence. It's the silence that separates one note from another. It's the silence that separates one thought from another. And it's the silence that separates one word from another. So practice this. Spend some time in silence. By that I mean no more information going in and no talking. Laughter is okay. Gibberish is okay. Miming, whatever you want to say. You might have to mime if you're with friends or family. That's fine. But just no speaking. And you will be amazed, especially if you do the 24 hours, you will be amazed at the shift in perspective and the shift in perception that will happen for you around certain things in your life, certainly around yourself and around people in your life situations in your life, you will get a very clear perspective. Because everything in our lives is about perception. And so you want the most clear perception. Because that is the most helpful for you in all of your relationships and in your work and for your health and fitness. Because in that silence, you can hear messages from your body. You can hear messages from your heart. You can hear your intuition. And these are powerful friends for you in managing your life. The wisdom of your body, the wisdom of your heart, and your intuition. And you can save yourself a ton of money and time by listening to these 3 magical voices within you and following their guidance. Even if you don't understand why they are suggesting you do a certain thing, do it. Trust yourself, because this is what is growing in you now, is a trust in yourself, in the foundation of silence. So silence is not something to be afraid of, not at all. The very opposite. It's something to enjoy, because it brings you so many gifts. And you have to try it. It's one thing for me to say it, but you have to know this from your own experience. And if the mind is too noisy, try the gibberish technique. Just to offload yourself at first, so that it's much easier to drop down into the silence. So you can find silence in nature. Just be in nature, by a lake, on a beach, in a forest, somewhere where there is the most silence possible from traffic noises and from too many people. And or try meditation. There are over 150 different meditation techniques in my book, Laughter, Tears, Silence. Give them a try. And most likely you will enjoy the expressive meditation techniques. Which help you express out repressed emotions, which helps to free you up and fill you up with more joy and a greater ability to be in touch with your inner silence. If you have questions or comments about this, please write in the comments below. I'm very happy to answer all of your questions, reply to your comments. Because to be in touch with your inner silence is your divine birthright and can bring you tremendous joy and peace and relaxation. So let me know any way that I can support you on your journey. And thank you so much for being on this call. This is my Inspiration with Pregito series. And our topic today is the power of silence. And I look forward to talking to you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Until then, may your life be filled with blessings and miracles, and love and peace and wisdom.